welcome back again to Creepy Cutie Crafty. Welcome back yet again to another Friday Fabric Fumble with me, Heather. Hi guys, how are you doing this week? It's been a bit of a hectic week for me, I've got to be honest with you. I've had everything thrown at me this week. My car broke down and we had terrible weather, and so it's nice to have a Friday morning devoted to a little bit of quiet, calm, calmish for me, stitching. So I'm just finishing off this chicken scratch pattern that I've got here. Now I realised last week that I'd got it slightly wrong. So I had like these squares. You can see like a square there and a square there, offset. But I didn't get them the right way around. So where was I? It was here. So you can see I've got the squares there offset by only one. And then I realised that actually they needed to drop. So that's what I've done on this side here. So I'm just finishing off the little stars in the centre of these squares, and then I'll show you what I mean. At the moment, it all just looks like one big lot of yellow and white squares. But once I actually add the rest of the pattern in, it will make more sense. But you can see there's offset squares here. So two there, two there, two there, two there, two there. And it was supposed to be square there, then drop down, square there, leaving a little square between each of the squares. It'll make sense once I've done it, and you'll be able to see how it looks in its entirety. But we'll see how we go. So yeah, how have you guys been doing this week? Like I say, it's been a bit of a hectic week. We've had the car breakdown, we've had everybody catching colds and flus, we've had just a ton of things happen. But you know, that's just how life is, isn't it? And especially when it gets to this time of year when it's cold and frosty outside. It's been less cold than a few weeks ago, but it's still pretty nippy here. We had torrential rain yesterday. It was absolutely teeming down, and unfortunately, because my car was in the mechanics getting mended, I had to walk through the rain to get to the bus and to all these things, and I got absolutely soaked through. But such is life. So today I'm spending as much of the day as I can wrapped up underneath my lovely fluffy Halloween blanket, and doing some stitching. So that sounds like an ideal way to recover, doesn't it? Anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to be finishing this one off today, I hope, and I've got another couple of projects that I'm doing. I managed last week, or was it the week before? Last week, to get my Omori jacket design finished just in time for Squinks to take it to Comic-Con, which we went to last weekend, and it was fantastic. We got some very lovely responses from fans of Omori who saw the jacket, yeah, so Squinks went dressed as Omori again. Don't look it up without being aware that there are some very serious trigger warnings associated with that game. Omori is a computer game that Squinks, my child, enjoyed playing for a while, a couple of years ago, and they went to Comic-Con, the Comic-Con in Birmingham here in the UK, dressed as Omori, and got a few people noticing them, including somebody who's dressed as Basil, the character that was on the back of the jacket that I made for them. So that was nice. And yeah, but Comic-Con was very much fun. Lots and lots of walking, but that's what you expect, isn't it? Right, bear with me just a second. I'm going to tie this one off. You can see, even though I haven't got to the end of the thread, it's starting to get quite frayed, so I'm going to change it up for a new one. But yeah, so Squinks dressed as Omori, and they wore the jacket, and got lots of lovely comments from people who'd either dressed as Omori or who'd played the game and recognised the characters. So that was a lovely thing. But there were so many amazing comic and book and film costumes and cosplay there, that it was just amazing to see. Some people are so skillful in their designs and what they create, and there was a lot of people dressed in the style of various new sort of creepy computer games, but there was people who were dressed as characters from the Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel stories, which are worth looking up. But again, all the trigger warnings, and it's quite adult, so yeah, just be aware. Squinks is just about old enough now that they can watch things like that, but it's not to everybody's taste. And there were a lot of like people selling D&D dice and equipment, which was fantastic, and I was very tempted by various sets of the math click-clacks, as we call them. And it's reminded me how much I would like to get back into playing D&D again at some point. At some point, we'll see. But I think Squinks and I are looking forward to having a go at making scenes and characters using D&D minis, maybe sort of painting some mini characters, and see what we can create with them. I think that would be fun. Yes. Anyway, whilst we were there, we also got to see some of the some of the actors from Horrible Histories. I don't know if you guys have seen that. They've also the same actors rather, who play the ghosts in the TV series Ghosts, which, if you haven't watched it, is a fantastic comedy series. There's an American version and a German version and all sorts of other versions that are going on around the world, and people sort of picking up their own sort of local culture, local heritage, and finding out what kind of ghosts, what kind of people from history would be representable by the ghosts in the houses and things. But it's a fantastic series. I highly recommend it if you ever get a chance to watch it. Watch Ghosts, and of course watch Horrible Histories, because it's just amazing. And watch there are other things like Yonderland and things. It's sort of kids TV, but not just aimed towards kids, because there's lots of sort of in jokes and not quite kids humour going on in there. But I highly recommend. And I was thinking maybe using some of my growing needlework skills to maybe make a costume for cosplay for the next time we go to Comic-Con. I don't know what I would like to go as. I don't know what I'd like to, or maybe I can make something for Squinks to wear that's not just a jacket or decoration. They like to go as characters. They like to go in their cosplay. So I think it would be great fun to do that. But we'll have to see. Yeah, and there's lots of inspiration for future ideas there, and it's always fun to talk to other cosplayers and things about where they get their ideas from. And the other thing about it is also that you don't always have like hard and fast rules about what you can or can't do. If you're going as a particular character, or if you're going as a type of character like a warrior or something like that, the funny thing is that you also get lots of cosplayers who mix them up, or cross them up with other franchises, other styles of so sort of mixing up two franchises. So you maybe have there's a lot of people who dress as Deadpool, but there's now also a lot of people who dress as Deadpool and Pikachu, because Ryan Reynolds, the actor, played both Pikachu and Deadpool, so it sort of works. And it gives rise to some very funny costumes and some very funny interactions as well. We saw quite a few Deadpools. There's always going to be a few Deadpools at Comic-Cons, wherever you go. And sometimes people put on the costume and decide that that's a good excuse to be naughty or misbehave with others and maybe cross a few boundaries. But generally speaking, they're fairly respectful, and you always get different variations of Deadpool. So we had Deadpool, we had Lady Deadpool, we had one Deadpool walking around wearing a Hello Kitty top and holding various stuffed toys, which I'm not going to talk about because if you've seen the movie you'll know what that's all about. And there was a Deadpool in a wedding dress. There was a Deadpool walking around with a Hugh Jackman standee. So if you've seen the most recent movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, you'll know what that's all about. It's very, very creative. But yeah, great fun to see them. I've never done cosplay myself, but I know that Squinks enjoys it. And I've got friends who regularly cosplay as various characters or in various outfits, but it's an interesting one. It's worth having a look. So yeah, it's only a small Comic-Con because it's in Birmingham in the UK. It's not ever going to be huge, but it's still always worth visiting because it doesn't take much for one particular Comic-Con to get more popular and suddenly get a lot more busy. I mean, it certainly wasn't quiet when we were there. It was very, very full on. There were hundreds, if not thousands, of people there. And I know that Saturday was the busiest day, and all the tickets are sold out. So yeah, it's a busy day. But yeah, so this pattern should hopefully start making sense soon. Basically, once I've got this done, I'm going to add petals going from the yellow flowers here, yellow stars here, and then we shall see what happens next, because there should be little spaces left for smaller decorations as well, but I don't know quite what I'm going to do with those ones yet because I haven't got to them yet. But we'll see. I've been talking quite a bit about my plans for the next few months. I'm intending to start doing my spinning and weaving projects, which is probably going to take a few weeks because I don't have any real plans of what I want to make with it yet. I'd like to make something fairly substantial, maybe like a scarf or something like that, but I don't yet know what I want to do because I don't have like a standing loom. I don't have one of those big looms that you can stand behind and move the handles and things, because I haven't got the space. I'm literally in my living room, which is also my dining room, which is just tiny. But I've got like a couple of handheld loom frames and things where I can start doing sort of fairly pared down things. But I'm looking forward to having a go at that and seeing what I can make with a little bit of simple hand weaving. But yeah, I'm also going to be having a look at more doll remakes. So if you remember, me and Squinks had a go at doing Sylvanian Families remakes a couple of months ago. I'm thinking of doing some more of that. I've got a Sylvanian family ready to go with that. I just haven't yet decided what I want to do. I want to see if I can make something that's kind of fancy. So I was looking at some of the the kings and queens, talking about horrible histories, and they're talking about the kings and queens of England, or maybe some of the more cartoony versions of them. So I was talking about maybe making a remake in the style of Queenie from Blackadder, which, if I don't know if Blackadder got to any other countries around the world, but in Britain, Blackadder is kind of a cultural institution. It's a comedy show based in different periods of history, and it stars Rowan Atkinson as Blackadder, who's kind of a devious character, and there are some other versions and variations of characters from history that you wouldn't quite expect. So in one instance, in Blackadder II, there's a character called Queen Elizabeth I, and she's not played with any real reverence to the real Queen Elizabeth. She's played as a sort of mad despot who's also very kind of childish. So she wants to play games, she wants tricks, she wants presents all the time, all that sort of thing. And she's quite hilarious, but her costume is amazing. It's very sort of sparkly, lots of gold and silver designs everywhere. And I thought I'd like to have a go at making her as a doll remake. Right, so I've got all the yellow done on there. Now, I was thinking about what to do with the flowers. I was thinking of using some more of my silk ribbons to do the flowers, but I think I'm going to leave those for this week. I'm going to use... what should I use? I don't want to use blue because obviously the background's blue. I think I'm going to go with... Which one do I want to do? Do I want to do purple or do I want to do red? I'm going to go with the purple, I think. It's not really purple, it's more of a lilac, isn't it? So this is what's going to form the petals. And I'm planning on continuing with some more black work and embroidery experiments, just sort of general practice, general experiments, because I still have a lot to learn about black work and about embroidery, which, you know, I'm not going to learn it if I don't do it. So I need to get on with more making, I think. Right, so where am I? I will start here and I'll work my way up. So if I start going through there, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold in my nose still. It seems like every time I get over one cold, I immediately catch another one. It's a bit of a frustrating thing at the moment. But that's how it is at this time of year, especially in the UK. Right, so that's going in there. And then I'll wind that round and go into the... Oops, not through there, because that would make it all kinds of tangled. I'm trying to keep it on camera as well, so sorry guys. And then go through. I'm using the pointed end of the needle. It's not that sharp, so it's not too difficult to get it into position. Sorry, I know I keep going off camera, but unfortunately it's a long thread, so... And yes, I know that was my decision as well. Oh well. And then... through there... Unfortunately, because it's so cold, I'm wearing my cardigan, but it's not real wool, it's more synthetic, so unfortunately that means I get very staticky this time of year, especially when it's so cold out. So it's always fun to do stitcheriness whilst I'm trying to battle against the threads and things sticking against me. Such is life. Anyway, so yeah, as you can see, I'm going through them one by one, trying not to go through the wrong bit of the thread, also trying not to catch up on there, and then you'll see it's forming a nice little flower type form. I'm not putting this too tight because I wanted to have a bit of a loop on it to make the flowers more visible, if that makes sense. But yes. And there we go. Nearly done that one. I could alternate the flowers really, couldn't I? I could have one purple, one something else. What do you think about that? Do you like that just as purple, or do you think I should add a second colour. I don't know. Because apart from anything else, they're not exactly on a zigzag. It's going to be offset slightly, so I think that works. What do you think? I think I'm just going to keep going with it. Try not to overthink it, which, to be honest with you, is quite a common complaint of mine. I overthink an awful lot of things. Hold on. And it's getting tangled up behind there. Okay, so there we go. And after I've done a couple of these, I'll get on to the next project because I've done over 20 minutes on this one now. Maybe I'll do this to half an hour just so I can get a good bulk of this done. But I mean, I've seen, you know, people talking about turning these into frocks and things. I like this, but I don't know quite what I would like to wear it on or use it on. I don't really go in for cute or cutesy style clothing, and to me this is lovely, but it's more decorative, it's more cutesy, more sort of country girl type vibe, in my humblest of opinions. And that's not to, you know, denigrate anybody who likes that kind of style, but it's not my style. My style tends to be a lot more in darker clothes. I'm very much more into my goth styles. That's one of the things I was thinking of turning the Sylvanian family into, is like turning them into a goth of some description. I don't quite know what I want to do with that though, because that's something that's going to be happening in the new year. There we go. Sorry, going quiet again. It shows you that I'm concentrating, doesn't it? Anyway, so what else have we got to discuss? Yes, I'm still going to be doing some gold work. I've mentioned doing some of the gods from the Terry Pratchett novels as sort of icons in gold work, but I'm also getting other ideas as well. So I mean, I've seen some beetles and bugs that maybe I'd like to have a go at, but I don't yet know quite what direction I want to take it. I do know I want to do a bigger project with it, but it depends on time and money. That terrible word again, I'm afraid. Yeah, but I'm still deciding. Oops, daisy, punching the camera as is traditional. If any of you have got any ideas of what you want me to have a go at doing with gold work, please let me know, because as I keep saying, I do welcome all and any ideas within reason. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun project, I think. I'm going to have a look at the Royal School of Needlework lessons and kits and things, and see what I can get hold of, because I think I would like to have a go with a kit first at something that's sort of pre-designed and it can walk you through it. But I don't know what I want to do with that one yet. Now, I've messed up here because I've gone the wrong way, so I'm going to put the needle in through there. And then come back out here and put it through there. I've also been, I don't know if you've had a look at my shorts. I've been doing some shorts. Now, for a long time I was doing paint pour type work in my my studio. When I say studio, I mean a busted old glass sunroom at the back of the house that was put on by one of the previous owners here. It's horrendously damp and it gets very cold in the winter, so I thought probably best not to put paintings out there when they're likely to either get dripped on or get frozen. But I've been having a go at doing some pattern making using a Graph on my iPad. Now, I've been doing quite a few of them because I just enjoy sort of playing around with patterns, as you know. But I'm thinking about what I'd like to do with those patterns, because I think some of them are quite attractive. And I was thinking about adding them onto spoon flour. I haven't yet used spoon flour, but I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I'm pretty sure most of you have. But it's basically a website where you can share patterns and things, and then they turn it into fabric. So they have like printed, all kinds of printed things going on there. I don't know why I did that. That was a very silly thing for me to do. Never mind. I'm thinking about possibly adding some of my patterns on there, and I've started to have a go at some things that are more in my hand-drawn style rather than computer-drawn style. So looking at things like silver point drawings, like Da Vinci and people like that used to do, and I really like that style, but it's kind of interesting getting it using digital media, and I definitely have a lot to learn, but I'm enjoying it. But let me know, have you guys used spoon flour, and what did you think of it? Okay, so I'm going to get into this flour, and then I'm going to pause and then set up for the next project that I've got going on. Do you like this so far? That's the question, I suppose, isn't it? What do you think of this so far? I was talking about cosplayers earlier, and I've got to be honest with you, the people who make cosplay, some of them are so dedicated and so skilled with their work that you kind of feel like they should be doing costuming and things as a day job, but most of them have regular jobs elsewhere, and they just spend all of their spare time making these cosplays just out of pure devotion, because they just love the art. Well, I suppose that's where they always say, don't they, that's where the word amateur comes from. It comes from a person who loves their art. So it's amare, which means for the love of it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic thing to get into. Anyway, there we go. I'll do the rest of that off screen, and then I'll do the last little bit next week. So you can see there's like a little area here and a little area here that aren't in these squares, that I'll have to fill up with something next week, but I don't know what that'll be. Anyway, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I'm back now. I've got another little project here that I'm just doing for funsies, and this is a little tote bag that I bought from Flying Tiger, which is like a Danish goods store, so sort of they're sort of quirky goods, and it's just a simple tote bag, and I decided that I'm going to just use a little bit of embroidery thread just to do some decoration on the outside. I'm also going to use this as means to do some more practice for my other stitches and things, so I will be referring to my dictionary of embroidery stitches again. For this one, I'm just going to start with one of my favourites at the moment, which is the Pekingese stitch. So I'm just going to do a row of double back stitch around this. I'm going to do 2 rows, in fact, using this thread. This is just your normal embroidery, DMC embroidery thread. This one's got a little bit of variegation to it, but I think that's going to work quite nicely. I've just got to be aware that I've got 2 layers of fabric here, so I need to be a little bit careful about not sewing through both layers. But I'm sure I'll cope. We shall see, shan't we? Yes, again we shall. I'm going to start at the top here, and I'm going to try and follow the shape of the hearts. We shall see how that goes. Right, so doing my double back stitch. I'm going to do quite big stitches this time. Doing double back stitch, aka, as we know, the Holbein stitch. I think I may have chosen a needle that's a little bit too small, but we'll see how we go. Yes, we shall. So, oopsie daisy. There we go. Getting it going. So, any of you watching, you know I have my child, Squinks. They're currently in secondary school, and of course, with the build up to Christmas, everything's getting very exciting, so they're looking forward to decorating the house, which we haven't done yet, and they're also looking forward to setting up the Christmas tree. They've got their little advent calendar that's already going, and I remember I said a few months ago that I was going to do some advent calendar decorating type thing, but unfortunately that didn't happen because everything else happened. Unfortunately, my life, I keep saying unfortunately, my life seems to be a bit kind of bit chaotic at the moment. There's all these colds and flus going around, and Squinks is setting up for their GCSEs, and we've got everything happening, but I'm hoping to catch up on all the things I missed soon. But also they've got the school play, and because they're in drama, they are currently rehearsing for their school play and hopefully going to be putting it on tonight. Yes, but I'm looking forward to seeing that because they've been working at it for quite a long time. And of course, after Christmas, we've also got their piano exam, which they're trying to avoid thinking about, but unfortunately I keep reminding them. But isn't that always the way, though? Any of you out there who are parents, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They want to do it, but at the same time they don't want to put in the work. It's ever was it, that's because, you know, as I said before, I used to be exactly the same, but that's just how it is. Anyway, yes. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing the Christmas play. We're also thinking of maybe going to a Christmas panto. Do you have pantos where you are? Have you ever been to a panto? When I lived in London as a child, my parents took me to a local amateur dramatic society pantomime, and it was almost always my dad playing the ogre, the giant, because he's a big fella, and he's got a very deep voice, so he made an excellent giant. But unfortunately, every year I got to see my dad being squashed by Jack the Giant Killer or by whoever. It's always fun though, isn't it? Yes. Anyway, but yeah, I was talking also about my work on the paint pours. I don't want to do too many of those anymore. I've been doing quite a bit of pattern work on my shorts using a Graph on my iPad, but I'm also looking forward to getting out into the sunroom and having a go at some more abstract style paintings, as well as maybe a literal style painting. I don't know quite what it is I want to do yet, but we shall see. I'm almost definitely going to refer back to some of my Gish heyday style memories, some of the tasks and the items that they used to get us to do, because I am thinking of doing a painting of one of the mascots from Gish, which I always loved looking at the mascots. Some of them work better than others, but they were always based on sort of two animals put together and then given a funny name. So one year we had a cat and a bee, and that was called a beeline. And then the previous year we'd had a chinchilla and an axolotl, and combined that became a chillax. So all these funny names and things, but the characters look quite funny. But I was thinking of maybe doing a painting of one of those, but I don't know. So it's a sort of literal but not actually reality, which is fine by me. Anyway, yeah. And I was going to have a go at doing some abstract paintings as well, because I do like doing patterns and I do like doing all these sort of things, but sometimes it's nice to do just some throwing paint around and seeing what happens. And I do enjoy abstract paintings. I just haven't done it for a very long time. I don't think I've done it since I was at college in my younger years, but I think I would like to give it a go. Right, so I'm going to do a second layer starting there. I just started this one with red because I just wanted to sort of reflect the red of the hearts, but I think the other colours are going to be much more different. I'm trying to think of, because with Pekingese stitch you sort of do a loop through these, and I don't know what I want to do. I'm thinking maybe a bright green or a bright yellow, but I don't know yet. I just want to do something that's a bit varied. I'm just doing this for the Pekingese stitch because, again, it is one of my favourites from recent times, and it's just something to bear me in gently into the process. I'm not going to do a gigantic crazy quilt type embroidery like I did with the tote bag that I did a few weeks ago, but there's always the option of doing something a bit grander down the line, isn't there? And yeah, I've also got some other bits and pieces to have a go at. I've got my fabric that I want to have a go at doing some thread painting with, because I've never done that, and I'd quite like to do something a bit silly with that because I'm me. If you can't do something silly and fun, why do it? You know, it's I do sometimes find that if you're doing something that's sort of artistic, people take it very seriously, and sometimes it is meant just for enjoyment, and having fun, having a laugh is just as valid a goal as being super serious all the time, I think. I mean, it's one of those funny things, isn't it? People say, oh, you need to take this seriously. I am taking it seriously, but I may not be very solemn about it. There's a big difference between being serious and being solemn. It's something that people often forget. But yeah. So that's my second row, and back around I go. That was very poetic, wasn't it? How strange. There we are. So yeah, I mean, I'm like I say, I'm thinking of putting some of my patterns onto spoon flower, see how they go. I'm very aware. I mean, some of them are very pretty patterns. I'll put a picture up on here of a couple that I've enjoyed doing recently, but I'm very aware that they're not super professional. But I'm thinking of other patterns and other styles of things that maybe I can post up there as well, because it would be nice maybe to buy some of these patterns from Spoonflower to do embroidery or stitch work, or to make some items of clothing with in the future. And I was thinking with the patterns that I've been doing, maybe doing those as embroidery, as an embroidery pattern, maybe with some of the gold work, or maybe with some of the black work that I've been doing. I don't know. We shall see. Oops, daisy. I'm gonna have to go inside again, aren't I? Yes. Yeah, it's not easy working in this very confined area, but I think it works. As long as I don't accidentally go through the outside on the other side, that's the main thing, isn't it? yeah, like I say, next week I'm going to be starting on spinning. I have never done fibre spinning before, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to making my own yarn. I want to have a go at making some regular sort of yarn that you can weave with. I know some people like doing their crochets and things. I don't crochet. As I've said many times before, it's something that I would love to be able to do, but I've been told how to do it maybe 3 or 4 times by my mum, and I never really got the love of it. But I think it could be a fun thing to try once I've made my own wool. What do you think? That is, of course, if I can actually make my own wool. It might turn out horrendously. But we shall see. Let me know down in the comments, have you had a go at doing spinning or weaving yourself? I'm looking forward to having a go with weaving. I've done sort of very simple weaves in the past using like cardboard templates, but I'd like to do something a bit more serious at some point. I'm not going to buy myself like a floor loom. I don't have the time, the space, nor the money for that at the moment, but maybe in a year or two. How does that sound for an idea? It would be nice to make things from scratch and turn them into new things. One of the things I used to enjoy doing was scrap weaving, so getting very thin strips of scrap fabric and weaving it into something. I'm just going to tie this off, so excuse me for a moment. What colour shall I do on the outside? I do feel like being a bit sort of obnoxious and making it bright green or something, but I don't know. I'll have a look at my greens down here. Oops, a daisy. Got my little collection of fabrics threads on the side. I think I'm going to go for, which one should I go for? I'm going to go for this one. Do my usual thing. Now for this one, I used 3 strands of the DMC for the outside. I'm going to use 2 strands just so it sort of fades a little bit into the background. So I'm going to use my usual thing of just tying off the end like that. So I've got a length here, go to the end and separate out 1, 2 of the threads, and then just lift and separate. There used to be a bra ad that used to say that, wasn't there? Lift and separate. The things I remember. I was talking to somebody about bone marrow the other day. Sorry if you're a vegetarian, but there's a big fashion nowadays of putting bone marrow in recipes and on the table. Apparently it's very delicious. I've never had it myself, but apparently it's very, very nice. And I know that it used to be like the prized thing at feasts many, many years ago. But I still remember when I was a kid watching the adverts on TV, and the only time I ever really heard about bone marrow was when it's on adverts for dog food. I don't know if you guys remember that as well. It used to be like a thick marrowbone jelly enriches our lovely dog food, or dog bones, or whatever they were. I never heard it in terms of yum yum, buy it at a restaurant. Then again, you know, waste not, want not. Use every part of the animal. Don't waste what you have, I guess. Again, I'm aware that my views may well be different to everybody else's. Personal taste still counts for a lot. Anyway, I'm getting ridiculous again, aren't I? Yes, I am. Okay, so I'm going to start there. And around. Which way shall I do it? I'm going to go this way, I think. So this is where, because it's weaving through, I'm using the back of the needle rather than the front. And then going through that way. So, yep, that should have gone back that way, never mind. I'll know for next time. So, yep, just weaving through. Oops, daisy, punching the camera as is traditional. And then back through. There we go. It's coming together. Yeah. So yeah, gearing up for the season again. I know that everybody else is doing exactly the same. Tell me what your seasonal plans are. Mine are to stay inside with lots of lovely baked goods and have a bit of a rest, because it's been a bit of a hectic year, all told. It's always the way though, isn't it? Need a rest and then suddenly things get busier for no reason. I'm not one of these people who believes that you have to keep going until you fall down, because I don't think that's healthy. You need to rest when your body tells you. But I do know people who feel like unless you're filling up every single second of the day, then that's time wasted. I think that's crazy. Anyway, what else have I got to talk about? Oh, I did actually make a list over here, and I've been through everything already. I don't have enough to talk about, obviously. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gearing up for the Christmas season over at the museum that I work in. And looking forward to seeing how the public reacts to our sort of, quite often we put on like secret trails of elf on the shelf type characters, so that the kids can run around and find them and work out what colour they are and who they are and what they are. It's a fun little activity, but we've also got just general fun things for people to enjoy just as part of the regular museum activity. So it's a very busy time of year for anybody who's in the entertainment industry, as it is for anybody who's working in retail. So as I always say, you know, if you're going out buying stuff for Christmas, remember that it's Christmas for the people working behind the till as well. So be patient, be nice, and remember everybody's there to help everybody else out. And you're not the only person who matters right at that second. So yeah, sorry, is that a bit militant of me, wasn't it? I do get kind of annoyed when I go out shopping and I see people like, why can't they do this? Why can't they do that? It's Christmas, why don't you do this? It's Christmas for everybody, not just you. Be patient with each other. And a little kindness goes a long way, doesn't it? And we've finally decided what we're going to be having for Christmas dinner. So, yay. Got something to look forward to now. It's going to be yummy, I think. We're going to have a nice bit of pork belly. Don't generally tend to go in for turkey. We occasionally do chicken or duck, but generally speaking, we tend to avoid turkey at Christmas, and we don't really do goose here. I mean, I remember one year my mum cooked a goose because my younger brother asked for it, and it came out so greasy, because geese are very, very fatty birds. So that's kind of put me off that as well. But yeah. What do you guys have for your celebratory lunches at this time of year? Although it's nice to have, you know, a good main course, good meat and vegetables and things, I always love to go for the desserts, but then again, maybe that's not the healthiest option either. Talking of which, we've just finished the Great British Bake Off, a couple of weeks ago. Have you guys been following that? I am very much an avid fan. I absolutely loved it, but I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to say who won, because spoilers. I know that I've got some friends over in America who are watching the series but haven't quite got to that point. But yeah. But it's a lovely show, and I do love how on the Bake Off the bakers all wish each other well. They don't want anybody to fail. They don't want to win because of somebody else's disaster. They want to win because of their own quality. So, you know, if they're doing a task and someone says, oh, I need help with this, I need help with that, everybody jumps to help. And I really do love that about that show. It just shows you the kind of crafty minds that can take over, because as we all know, if you're a crafter, you're never in competition with the other crafters. Everybody wants everybody to win, don't they? I mean, you do get the occasional few who are like, I want to win at all costs, but fortunately they are few and far between. And generally speaking, people are lovely. Not always, but generally speaking. Am I getting all deep and meaningful here again? I am, aren't I? Sorry guys. Maybe I should call this my Friday fabric fumble and philosophy hour. It's not quite an alliteration, but you know, it's close enough. I'm nearly coming up on my half hour on this one, so I'm going to be done this soon. Yes. And I've been getting some lovely comments about my finished Omori backwork piece. Backwork, yep. Because I shared it on a couple of other pages. I shared it on a blackwork page on Facebook and also on some other crafty pages as well. It's always fun to see how others react, because I think I'm like most crafters. I don't think my work is the greatest, but to somebody else it could be exactly what they're after. Isn't that always the way? Oh yes. It's really nice to see how your work is received in the eyes of others. And yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe getting into more grander projects in the new year, because I want to start doing bigger things, but I also want to make sure that I'm doing things that are going to be useful. So that's why I'm doing this tote bag. That's why I did my bag for the Creative Craft Show. That's why I'm going to be doing some small weaving and things, so I can have a go doing some scarves and lovely things like that. And yeah, in this country we can definitely use all the scarves and gloves and things that we can get. But yeah, I used the jacket obviously for squinks to wear, so they've got a nice clean jacket that they can take out. They're probably going to be taking that with them when they go and visit some friends in another country in a few months' time as well, so that will be fun. And yeah. Trying to work out what else I need to do. I have some other ideas as well. I want to return to black work, but I want to have a few days break so I can think about where I want to go with it. I've managed to get online. I went onto Etsy, I believe it was, or to Folksy, I can't remember, and picked up some fabric scraps, some silk scraps, because I want to try doing some black work into silk, and the bits are large enough, the pieces of silk that I've got are large enough that I could probably turn them into a costume for a doll. And you know me, I don't go for half measures. I'm not going to go for rayon if I can get scraps of silk to work from. But they weren't too expensive, but they are fun to think about, fun to play with. It's lovely that I'm learning more and more about different fabrics as I'm crafting as well, because I just don't know much about them. I know that there are some companies that sell like scrap fabric information books, so you can go on there and have a look at like all these little sort of swatches of different kinds of fabric and see how they feel and see how they look, and get a little bit of information of them. So I'm thinking maybe of picking up one of those, just to give me a bit more guidance, because like I say, I have the most barest bones knowledge about fabrics and different kinds of fabrics and how they work and how they look and what they're good for. So it'll be useful to have something a bit more informative to rely on than just guesswork. It's terrible. I mean, I usually when I go to the fabric shop, which for me is often Hobbycraft or the Hole in the Wall in the town near me. That's literally what the shop's called. It's called the Hole in the Wall. And it's an amazing little sort of Aladdin's cave of fabrics and things. But I try to get them to write down on the label what the fabric is made of, so that I can keep a note of it, so I can find out more about how to work with it and what I can do with it. But those labels obviously sometimes go missing, so it's not always as practical as maybe I would like to have. But you know, I'm still learning, and hopefully I'm getting better. I'm sure you guys can tell me what you think I'm getting better at though. I'm very nearly at the end of my hour. Just want to get this little bit of decoration done, and then we shall see. Do you guys do New Year's resolutions? That's the next thing I need to ask, is do you guys do New Year's resolutions? I used to be in a crowd of people who every year would be like, right, we've got to make New Year's resolutions, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. And every year, without fail, they'd have given up on their New Year's resolutions within a few weeks of starting. It's very weird that, you know, we're supposed to have this thing of New Year's time for new things, new changes, and this is how we are supposed to be. Because you could start changes whenever you need to start changes. Don't give yourself an arbitrary deadline. It's just pure coincidence that we decided that the 1st of January was the 1st of January. If you know what I mean. Am I getting deep and philosophical again? I am, which is not very helpful when I'm also losing my voice. So I'm going to stop there. Yeah. Anyway, last stitch. And I will sew this off screen. I'm trying to get the new stitch over the last stitch so it holds it down a little bit, makes it a bit more attractive. Okay, so let's just do that there. And then put that through there. There we go. I'll tie that off once I stop filming. So, there we go. That's what I've done so far. And I'll be adding more to this next week and off screen as well. Tell me what you think about these two projects so far. And I will be finishing them both next week. And hopefully starting a new project as well, because I've got something lined up and it should be a lot of fun. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed that, and I will see you next week. Before you go, just remember to leave a comment down below what you think about what I've done so far. And also, whilst you're there, if you're new, remember to like and subscribe and all those lovely things that help a channel like mine to grow. And yeah, leave me a comment. What do you think of these so far? What crafts do you think I should have a go at in the future? And what kind of things are you going to be getting up to over Christmas and in the new year? I hope you all have a good week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.